You need to know in our community health assessment, where we surveyed over nearly 5,000 residents, 90 questions, but we also reached out to 220 different organizations, agencies, to say what was the number one issue in our community, and it is mental health and well-being.
Is there something about being over 50 that makes people forget more, or is that just natural?
If you're a person that's always been meticulous, well organized and everything, and for some reason all of a sudden you're not organized in anything, in multiple things, that may be a red flag.
Well, I'll tell you the honest truth.
And it's okay if you can't find your keys. I can't find my keys,
Okay.
folks, okay? That may happen. But I may have more concern that if I was going to a location, maybe I'm going to my church, or maybe I'm going to a women's meeting or whatever, and if I don't make it to that location, that's a major red flag.
Okay. Hello and welcome. This is another edition of the Second Half Podcast. My name is Thomas Griffin.
And I am Andrea McGordon.
And we have a guest today that everybody in the city of Indianapolis should be familiar with. She is the fabulous, the influential, the consequential Dr. Virginia Caine. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great.
That's
I get to see
fantastic.
two of my favorite people. How can I beat that?
We're so happy to have you here with us, Dr. Caine.
Well, thank you.
You know, on the Second Half Podcast, we want to talk to some of our friends and neighbors that are over the age of 50 and find out some of the things that are affecting their lives. And so I put together a list of questions that I wanted to ask Dr. Caine. We want to talk about mental health. We want to talk about physical things. We want to talk about financial things. And then we want to talk about neighborhoods and what we can do as people over the age of 50 to kind of have some community within our neighborhoods and around the city of Indianapolis. So I want to start off with mental.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start.
Because I'm not that smart. So as a mental guy, I tell you one of the things that bothers me, Dr. Caine, I am over 65. And every day it seems like I set something down and don't remember where I put it. I go out and go to the car, then I remember I forgot something, and by the time I get back in the house, I don't remember what I came in for. Is there something about being over 50 that makes people forget more, or is that just natural?
You know, it's just like if you're in the construction business, you do like building blocks, building up over time, years of memory, whether it's long-term memory or short-term memory. And so by the time you're reaching your 50s, there are things that you may not be quite as sharp in your memory as when you're in your 20s and your 30s. And that's because you got this whole storage of memories now that you are keeping. And so as you get a little bit older, you may be moving a little bit slower and building your blocks and putting that memory together, but then you got to kind of move some of that old memory aside. So it's no surprise that you may forget some things. And so I tell people, don't sweat the small stuff, okay? Because you got so many wonderful things that you've kept in memories for a long time. But I will caution you this. If you're a person that's always been meticulous, well organized and everything, and for some reason all of a sudden you're not organized in anything, in multiple things, that may be a red flag.
Well, I'll tell you the honest truth.
And it's okay if you can't find your keys. I can't find my keys,
Okay.
folks, okay? That may happen. But I may have more concern that if I was going to a location, maybe I'm going to my church, or maybe I'm going to a women's meeting or whatever, and if I don't make it to that location, that's a major red flag.
Okay.
That's when we probably need to think about seeking help.
You definitely need to seek professional help related to that.
Yeah.
All right, and so we're going to go through the little list.
Yeah, but even before you say that, I'm glad you highlight that, Thomas, because you need to know in our community health assessment, where we surveyed over nearly 5,000 residents, 90 questions, but we also reached out to 220 different organizations, agencies, to say what was the number one issue in our community, and it is mental health
Yeah.
and well-being. That's the number one issue everybody's facing, whether you're 50 years and older. So I think that's so critical for people to know. And you got to think about it. In this recent climate, people may have lost their jobs.
Right.
They may have lost a loved one. They may be concerned about insurance. How am I going to put food on my table? Whether I'm going to be homeless. There's so many things that are happening right now, so much change that's taking place
Right.
that is creating a lot of anxiety and depression. Almost 20% of the folks here in Marion County are complaining that they've been diagnosed with depression.
Yeah.
And so this is something that we have got to tackle head on.
I'm so glad that you're talking about that, Dr. Caine, because I think in years past, people have had such a negative association with mental health issues. And it's wonderful that we're moving it more to the forefront and talking about it because it's so common. To your point, we're dealing with so many things today. What are some of the things that we should think about in terms of addressing if we might be going through depression or anxiety or feeling certain things? What recommendations might you
I
make?
think the first thing we need to do is we need to understand that this is a medical condition. This is not something that's related to my emotional values that, I'm having these mental problems because emotionally it's my fault and I should be able to control my emotions. This is a medical condition. We have what we call healthy brains. You got a heart that can have high blood pressure. You put medicines on to lower that blood pressure.
Yes.
You can have diabetes because your insulin level is low in your bloodstream. And so you can take this medication to lower your blood sugar when it gets too high. Well, believe it or not, a brain has what we call neurotransmitters. They have these neural connections, brain waves that go into your brain. And they have this lovely part of your brain called a hippocampus. Hippocampus. This stores all your brain memories and how well you feel. And our little neurotransmitters are something that has something called serotonin and dopamine makes a difference in terms of how well you feel. So if we have a lack of that serotonin, or about the fight or flight,
Yes.
where the cortisol kicks out, that cortisol kicks out, and it suppresses that hippocampus. So it makes us feel bad, from an anxiety or depression. It makes us more depressed. So we need something that will increase the serotonin. And if we're lucky, if we increase it enough, dopamine comes out and it makes us feel good,
Feel better.
very
Yeah.
pleasurable, and whatever.
So then,
Different medications can help that, but more important than that, do you know that a special diet can make a difference?
That's
So
what I was
based
getting ready
on
to
your
ask you.
diet,
Yeah.
we
Right.
want those
Diet.
O3 fatty acids, omega fatty acids. If that increases, it impacts and increases that serotonin.
So are you telling me that I don't need to eat the bologna sandwich?
I'm telling you that you got to be very careful about eating a lot of ultra processed foods because it has a lot of saturated fats and trans fats that may not be healthy for you, and it impacts that serotonin. So I want you to eat and the best diet you can have. They've got this blend of something called the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. The combination of both of those blend makes you have a really healthy brain. And let me tell you, if you're following this diet, your brain is like 7.5 years younger.
Wow.
When
Okay,
they
well,
test you out related to
minute
this.
now. I
So
need
I'm
to be
going to
younger.
give you 7.5 years back
So
in your life.
Mediterranean diet.
Mediterranean/dash diet. These are two
Diet.
different diets that they combine
Okay.
together.
Okay, well, now I'm
Okay,
gonna have
and
to
I'll
look
tell you
that
what's
up.
in that diet now. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you need to eat things like beans, nuts, anything like, especially leafy green
Right.
vegetables like collard greens, kale, and
Spinach?
also spinach
Yeah.
will do it. Boy, you've been reading my stuff now. Okay. but also lentil. I think the olive oil, if you're, cooking or whatever, jazz. And then let's talk about the fish. Salmon, mackerel, fish are really good. That will give you those omega fatty acids.
So then the question then becomes, with all of that information you just gave me, do you cook and when can I come over for dinner?
So let me just tell you this, okay? All right.
When can we?
I'm sorry, I left you out.
You want to add also fruits and berries. I think that's really critical too. So I'd love for you to come over and I'd love for you to cook for me, but I need the kind of equipment that'll make you feel like special. So I'm going to let you go with me to Macy's and find the special cooking utensils that I need to have in order to give you a great.
We're not going to go that far yet. Well, with
great
all that
meal.
having been said, then how does that then, with your diet, go to your physical? So
there are more than one thing in order to make you have a healthy brain. So let me just talk about it. Second, and probably one of the most critical factors for you to have a healthy brain is exercise. And that exercise, it really increases the serotonin. It lowers the cortisol levels that can cause damage sometimes to your healthy brain. So exercise is really critical. And we, if for some reason, sometimes people over the age of 50, they may not be able to walk because of arthritis. But if you can bicycle, walk, you can do exercises in a chair with stretch bands really easily, or even try some yoga.
Yes.
Or type, the special Tai Chi type of exercises you can do. And so exercise really is important, and it also increases your well-being because it really stimulates that dopamine to make you feel really good. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. You've got to get sufficient sleep. You have to have at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep every night because your body has to have a downtime. It has to rejuvenate and repair your cells. So you've got brain cells, you got heart cells, and the only time they do it, but you've got to be able to sleep long enough for you to do that. And it's somewhere between that 6 and 7 hours where we see the most impact from that.
Have you noticed people 50 and over staying up later generally, or do they get up earlier, or is there any pattern for folks 50 and over?
So I think each person is kind of different.
Okay.
Like, for example, I'm a night owl. So I stay up, I watch Perry Mason.
You do too.
So that's
Comes on at
11:30 to 12:30 in the morning, okay?
Matlock. I'm a Matlock fan. Yeah.
So I'm a night owl, but you have people that are early birds. They wake up at like 5 and they're there. But there's some people sometimes that have a sleep disorder and they'll try to take over the counter pills. That's fine for just a few times. But I want to say you got to be very careful because some of those medications can make your brain sluggish, your cognitive function not there, drowsy, a little sleepiness. So you want to be careful of doing that long term. And so really seek out professional help if you've had sleeping disorders for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. So diet, exercise, sleep.
Now, there are 3.
Okay.
Now, here's the 4th thing you need to have. Social connection is so important. Relationships, okay?
How many can I have?
Well, let me just say, you won't believe this.
I'm just checking.
So you won't believe this, but people may say that they are lonely even in a marriage.
Yeah.
So when we look at relationships, males fare better in a relationship. They live longer than a female in the relationship. For the female, it's all about the quality of the relationship. Guys, listen to me. I'm telling you now, okay? So in relationships, for the woman, it's about the quality of the relationship. For the males, it's just having a female companion, somebody that they can talk to if they don't have a buddy.
That's
what it is.
You may be.
She's preaching right now.
I think it's more like
you may be single, okay?
Yeah.
And so if you're single, think about adopting a pet.
Yeah.
A dog. Now, you got to exercise that dog. You got to be out there every day exercising that dog. But you can have a cat like I have. And, cats can entertain themselves if you have more than one, okay? and you don't have to exercise them necessarily outdoors.
It makes me think, Dr. Caine. So obviously, a lot of statistics are telling us today that there is an epidemic around loneliness. And then I think when you add in the promotion and advent of social media and
Yes.
a lot of people spending time on social media, those factors coupled or combined kind of drive that isolation further. What are some tips that you might have that we can maybe think about moving more away? It's a place of connectivity, but can also be a place where it can create a lot of anxiety
Well,
as well.
I think you're right. With the social media, we are bombarded with
Yeah.
information. Unfortunately, a lot of that information sometimes may be misinformation.
Yeah.
And so that's very stressful in itself. Or you may see some atrocities that that you're listening to on the media, and you can't believe it's happening.
Yeah.
I think the thing that's so important is that you do, any individual, you have to take time for yourself. You got to be careful about being burnt out or stressed out. So you have to find that time in order to give yourself some time. And what I would tell people, consider maybe doing a hobby. So maybe if you can't cook, take some cooking lessons, all right? Or maybe go to your favorite movie that you haven't gone before, a new restaurant you haven't been there before, some place or location, a museum that you haven't seen, or you get somebody to walk with you as a companion, or you may take up gardening. You know, right now you may have to grow your own vegetables looking at some of the prices that we're seeing in these
Yeah.
grocery stores. But quilting, knitting, by the way, I'm taking up piano lessons again, okay? I used to play piano a long time ago, so I bought myself a piano. So do some new hobby that you might not have done before. Lifelong learning will keep you having a healthy brain. Remember that, lifelong learning.
What do you think about travel in that context?
So I would not tell you not to travel. I don't have a problem about traveling, but I do want to caution folks. And that is, if you're traveling by plane or even by train, we have to be cognizant of this new viral condition out there called Ebola. And we know that it's in 3 countries right now. It's in Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, and Nigeria. But it's just a matter of time where it will leak out of those countries. You know, people in those countries, if they're dying, it's a hemorrhagic syndrome. What I say by hemorrhagic syndrome means is that you can you don't have the ability to clot your blood. So you'll start bleeding from your eyes, bleeding from your mouth, your gums. You may notice that you're maybe having diarrhea. Your stools are all bloody, and you can see blood in your urine, and you will be bruising all over your body because you can't clot your blood.
Yeah.
And there's a significant mortality related to getting this particular viral condition. So if you're traveling out of the country, you have to be cognizant of where you're traveling. And 2, sometimes people from those countries may intersect at a connection. And so you may be in that same airport where they're doing the connection. So I caution everybody, please wear your mask while you're in flight or with your body of people. And I even caution you to try to wear a mask even in the airport. Especially if somebody is coughing or sneezing nearby you. Remember, they can move away from that space and you just walk in that space within 15 minutes and inhaling their droplets,
exposed to
you
it.
can be
Yeah.
exposed.
So
Yeah.
now you talked about traveling outside the country. What
Yes.
about your neighborhoods? Because I believe there's some statistics that talk about neighborhoods and how it affects your longevity. Do you?
Oh, so here's the thing. So let's talk about that. So there was a study done by Indiana University, Fairbanks School of Public Health. And what they did was they looked at our famous cultural trails, locations, and they looked at the housing around those areas and the environment, and they looked at longevity. So no surprise, I think, to anyone that when you look at the trail closer to out near the suburbs, the longevity was much longer. But as they came into the inner city areas, you found a dramatic decrease in longevity, as much as 10 years that they're living shorter.
Wow.
But I had to tell you this, Thomas. The average life expectancy for a black male is 68 years of age.
Woohoo!
Okay.
I made it.
68 years of age, okay? Women, we are superior.
That's right.
Okay. So we're living at about 72 years of longevity, but we can increase it so much better in terms of based on where you live. Sometimes you may not always have sidewalks, and so as you get near the winter time, it may be dangerous. We just saw this young 6-year-old
Yeah.
that got killed on a major cross section. And so, do we have the sidewalks? Are the drivers being as cautious as they need to be, knowing we have bicycle lanes, we have loved ones? So, I'm just telling you, I've seen some scary driving lately, so we have to be very, very cautious. And people, be careful being on your telephone while you're driving. Do not be distracted.
Yeah. And I think what's great about today is that, because you're right, you may live in a neighborhood that may not necessarily have sidewalks, and there may not be a gym in close proximity to where you live, but you can go to things like YouTube and pull up videos and exercise to those videos. And there's lots of things that you can do virtually if you have access to a computer. So,
And I don't want people to forget, we've got some wonderful parks here.
yes.
And most of the parks have a basketball court
Yes.
and whatever. And our own very famous Tamika Catchings is building a basketball court, partnering with a neighborhood association center. So we have the facilities out here. It's just people don't always know about them and where to go in order to seek those services out.
So, in your opinion, then, what can we do to motivate our seniors, 50 and over, to get out, to move, to eat well? Is there anything we can do to knock them upside the head and say, hey,
Well,
we got to do better?
you need to do your thing. You need to be a responsible citizen. And by that, what do I mean? I want you to do something special for somebody once a week in your life. I want you to consider, if you haven't been doing it, volunteer for an organization that may need your services.
I love that. Yeah.
We have so many people that are needed, that may need some help. We may have someone who's disabled. We may have a young mother with children and she doesn't have a break. We may have someone to check on a senior if they don't have anyone to know that they can help that individual.
Right.
But one, do something for yourself. Something once a week, okay? But two, volunteer and do something for someone else. And three, try to make someone laugh. Okay? Do something that will make them laugh. And then four, I think it's probably the most critical thing is, if I had to say one thing you should do, get a good physical examination.
You know what? You brought up a good point.
Annually.
And I wanted to ask you that. So annually, we should go and get a complete
You
physical.
should need to get a good, complete physical examination. And it's not complete if that provider does not ask you for a urine sample. If they're only just doing blood work, they did not give you a good physical, and you can tell them I told you so.
Here's what I'm thinking. And I remember years ago, a complete physical, I had one. You get on the treadmill, and you walk or run, and then they put the thing on you. And
That's a little bit more extensive than a good physical examination. But you do need a provider that can understand and hear a heart murmur.
Okay.
So that's so important to know. So I give my personal history where my sister was identified as a heart murmur, but she was told that it was benign, and it was not. She ended up having a stroke and leading to total blindness. So, but if you do have a heart murmur, you do need to follow up with a special imaging study to know whether it's benign are harmless.
I really like what you're saying, and I think that's so important. So, a good physical examination should absolutely include a urine test as well as
Right.
blood
Let me
test.
tell you why it
Yeah,
should include
that's
the urine
good.
test.
Yeah.
Blood test will tell you if you're going to kidney failure. But a urine test will detect you going to kidney failure 5 years earlier than a blood test. So you got 5 years that you may be able to make some changes, important changes that will prevent that kidney failure completely. So if they don't, and they're checking for proteins in their urine. So if all of a sudden you're seeing the foamy urine, bubblies in your urine, be concerned that maybe proteins, maybe early signs of kidney failure. Get that urine sample.
So now you open up another can of worms. I'm working with a bunch of guys that are going to have a prostate cancer awareness
Yes.
gala. And so you think about black men particularly, but men in general, we do not go to the doctor. So you're telling me I need to go to the doctor at least once a year. And so do I really want to get a prostate check, or is there an easier way to do that than the old way, if you know what I mean?
You know what? It raises a point that, a lot of times they're telling you that you can just do a blood test and it'll identify the prostate cancer. But the problem with that sometimes is by the time your PSA is what they call the test is elevated, it may mean that you've already started to metastasize your cancer to other parts of your body, like your spine, which can cause bone pain or other areas. So you really do need. I feel about this. My father had prostate cancer. That I think you need that digital examination to see if they can fill a prostate nodule that may not always necessarily detected early enough in the blood test.
So that's a physical exam.
That's a physical exam.
For men.
And here's about black men. Hey, age 40 and older, you need to be considering prostate cancer. I think it's occurring much younger in black men than our white counterparts. So consider that. And if you've got a history of prostate cancer, maybe you need to be checking earlier than that. But at least for me, I think the recommendations is 50 and older. Hey, black men, I think you should be 40 and older.
I think one of the big topics for women is menopause. So, and a lot of women are kind of navigating. We hear a lot in the news about menopause. Can you kind of speak to that and what women might be experiencing and how we might respond to some of those things?
So it's a little bit, sometimes for menopause, you may require some hormonal medications in order to help that. But as you know, this is where people feel these unbearable hot flashes. They're very uncomfortable. What can I do in terms of improving those symptoms? So you really should ask your healthcare professional. There may be some low medications, hormonal medications that they can give you that will help relieve those hot flashes. But sometimes it may mean you need to be in an environment where air conditioning is a little bit more appropriate. Then, I'm feeling comfortable. Someone around me said, I'm just dying here. It's so hot and whatever, So, maybe you can give them a cool mist fan or something like that to help them temporarily.
It reminds me of when I started in banking. I worked with a group of ladies who were over the age of 50, and they would talk about their hot flashes, and I would be like, "Oh, they're just so dramatic." And now, I'm over the age of 50, and I'm like, "It's really real."
It's a serious thing, and it's uncomfortable. Yes.
So I guess in summary, we need to find out, what do men need to do? What do women need to do to be healthier in their second half of life?
But the number one thing, please know that the number one cause of pneumonia is pneumococcal pneumonia. It's a simple vaccine. And it lasts for 5 years, so you don't have to be taking it every year like the flu. So remember, I call it the pneumonia shot, pneumococcal vaccines, but it's like the 4th or 5th cause of hospitalizations, cause of death in Marion County. But don't forget, heart disease is number 1.
Okay.
Cancer is number 2. You screen for all the cancers. Ladies, get that breast cancer screening. Men, get that prostate. But don't forget about colon cancer. Stop smoking. Don't let anyone in your house smoke, because that secondhand smoke can impact you. And we got to be careful of our children that they're not vaping. Be protective. But cyberbullying, artificial intelligence is impacting everybody.
Yes.
So if you've got children that you're concerned about, know what they're watching on their computer system, because people are always trying to, with artificial intelligence, they think they're looking at someone young of their same age, and it's not. They're going to be asking them for their name, what are the activities they do during the day. They may ask them to send pictures to them. So please talk to your children. And it's not the quiet ones that we worry about, the ones that are not acting out. It's the quiet ones that may be undergoing cyberbullying, and we're not aware of it. This is a mental health piece again.
Yeah.
So be cognizant. And we got to get rid of the stigma for mental health.
That's right.
And we've got to do it on the business corporation levels.
Yes.
But we got to do it in our communities as well. Because, being crazy, hey, it's not nothing that you can control.
Right.
It's a medical condition that needs to be handled medically.
Yeah.
I think I was going to say, I think we've hit so many points.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Dr. Caine for coming out, because what I believe, and I could be wrong, we need to bring you back about 45 more times.
Because I have so many more questions for you.
Well,
so many.
I love that. So I'd be delighted for you to come back. And Thomas, I see you'll be a few pounds lighter next time when I see you, right?
You know what? But you're right. And that's something that I need to be cognizant of, because at the end of the day, I put this suit on and it was so tight. So next time I
You're
wear
doing
this
good.
suit,
You're doing
it's going to
good.
be a little bit looser.
What I was trying to say is that he's going to have that meal with me.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, well,
He's going to go in the restroom and try to vomit it up or something like that.
Dr. Caine, you were amazing. Thank you for your leadership in our community. Thank you for your voice. Just so appreciate you and your time today. This is the Second Half Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I do want to say one more thing, and I don't know why this just popped in my head, but would you give us your official title?
So I am the Director and Chief Medical Officer for the Marion County Public Health Department, but I'm also an Associate Professor of Medicine in the Division of Infectious Diseases, Indiana University School of Medicine, and I am the immediate past president of the National Medical Association. This is so important because we were the only medical society that helped to pass the legislation with President Lyndon B. Johnson on Medicaid and Medicare. So if it wasn't for us and our advocacy, ours was the only doctor in the White House doing that signature, the only physician on Air Force One when they went from Texas to the White House to do that signature. So never let it be said that one person can't make a difference in this country.
Wow.
Advocacy is so important. We are a resilient set of folks, communities. We can make a difference. So people who are stressed, worried about what's going to happen to them the next day, know that you've got a concerted effort from people of color who know how to make a difference in their communities. We've been doing this since they brought us across the river into this country, and we will continue always to be resilient. We know what it takes in order for us to have a healthy community, and we're all going to be involved in making a difference.
Amen.
Fantastic.
Okay. Dr. Caine, can you give us one recommendation that our audience can take away from our conversation today that they can implement into their lives to make a difference over the age of 50?
So the big thing I want to tell people is you don't need to make a drastic change in everything all at once. Just one small change. And just consider one thing in a week that will make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And just one thing, something that you're taking time for yourself and you're taking care of yourself. Just one thing. I want you to just make that change in a week.
One thing at a time. Don't make it overwhelming.
Yeah, definitely don't do a lot
Yeah.
of changes all at once.
That's
Just
right.
make one small change.
Yep.
And see how that goes for a couple of weeks and then eventually add on to more.
Yeah. And believe that you can, right? Believe that you can do it.
You know that you can do it.
That's
okay.
right.
So
That's right.
You know, a lot of us have inherited values and genes from our parents and just people surrounding us in our values. But I will add one other thing that I think is so important. I think this is the best time to become more strong in your spirituality, your faith. Okay.
Amen.
So look to your strength and see how to reinforce your strength.
Yeah.
And I think it all resides in your spirituality and your faith.
Yeah. Powerful, powerful, powerful. So spirituality is foundational to everything, right? So thinking about all of the things that we've talked about today, focusing on our mental health, focusing on our diet, focusing on exercising, making sure that we're not isolating, but that we're creating community and going out and meeting with folks as we should. These are the things that we can really center our actions and our focus on over the next several weeks and over the course of the remaining of our lives. So is there anything else that you would add, Dr. Caine?
I just tell you that we have some wonderful programs that we're designing. I want everybody to be involved. We're kicking off what we call our community improvement plan. And so we're asking for any volunteers to help us out with this initiative. Number one, we're addressing mental health. Number two, access to health care. How to access it if you have no money and no insurance. Number three, safe and affordable housing. That's so critical. We don't want somebody in a car sleeping overnight with their children.
Good.
Trying to figure out how I can go get a shower and drop my kids off. Number four, it's a trauma and injury.
Yes.
So, you
Holistic.
know, the homicides,
Yeah.
domestic violence, and people use substance uses. You know,
Yes.
they self-medicate themselves with substance uses. How can we address that? And fifth, whatever we can do to improve maternal and infant mortality, that's huge.
Yeah.
So join us. You're going to be hearing an announcement. We're sending out invitations as we speak to come and get involved. Okay.
Yes. So Indianapolis needs us. Our city needs us. Thank you,
Yes.
Dr. Caine, for the call to action today and for the opportunity to engage in this powerful conversation and such great recommendations and suggestions that we can immediately implement into our lives. So thanks, everybody, for being a part of the Second Half Podcast.
The Second Half Podcast, the best is still ahead.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
look forward to coming back.
We look forward to having you. Thank you so much.
The Second Half Podcast, powered by NO Power, Lim Studios, and the Indianapolis Recorder.